Hello, and welcome to another video podcast.
Don't do that.
This is gross.
If you feel like a grape and you only have raisins,
Don't do that.
you have two nostrils.
This
Okay.
wins
All
the
right.
most disgusting episode so far.
It's something that I still do, and I still do it and love it.
Don't do that.
Look, awards are great. Some are obviously more prestigious than others.
This month, coming up right here on this podcast.
Speaking of things that you may not want to know,
Come sit in somebody's lap.
Don't do that.
People know I hire talent sometimes, so I get 500 business cards at the conference too. Guess what? They stay in the room when I leave.
They wanted a British accent,
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
and I don't have any samples with a British accent. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another VO podcast.
what up, what up? Welcome back to another VO podcast. I'm Jake Sanders, but of course, who else would I be? I mean, I guess I could be Alden or Troy, but I wouldn't sound like either of them. What's up, guys? How you doing?
Doing good.
Yeah, doing good. It's
Yeah.
Friday.
Yo, so
It
this
is
is actually
Friday.
the Friday after Thanksgiving, or the week after Thanksgiving. Not the Friday, not like Thursday, Friday, but the Friday after. We're recording this the week after Thanksgiving. That's what I meant to say. How was y'all's
It's
Thanksgiving?
December 1st.
Yeah, it is December 1st. Right. How was you guys' holiday? Yous guys'.
Use guys. Will.
Yous guys.
Use guys. Pretty good. Had a good Thanksgiving.
Good.
I ended up getting sick over the weekend, but didn't miss any recording projects because, of course, Thanksgiving was slow. So I picked a good time
to get
to
sick.
be down in bed all day.
Yeah, that's
But,
something we haven't covered on the podcast. Folks, if you're going to get sick, make sure it's when you don't have anything going on.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah, control that.
Choose
would you?
carefully the
Right,
time
right.
that you're going to be
Pick your
sick.
times carefully. Yeah, we had a good time. We went to we actually went on Wednesday and ate with my mom and my aunt. I may have mentioned this before. My aunt's like in her mid-90s
Nice.
and still getting around pretty darn good. And my mom's in her upper 80s, and it's funny. She's like the young one in the bunch, and she's the one that does all the driving most of the time, which is kind of funny. But then we went to see my wife's family on Thursday and enjoyed that as well. So, yeah, I mean, and then we got Christmas coming up about the time we blink.
Right.
I'm not
Here a little
ready.
bit.
Not ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Us either. I mean, we haven't done anything.
Yeah, I cooked a
kinda sneaks
turkey
up.
and we rented the fellowship area of the church in our town because we just have too many people to fit into any one of our houses anymore.
Wow.
So I cooked the turkey and stuffed it with stuffing and everybody brought something and we ate pretty darn good.
I'm sure you
And
did.
then afterwards, a couple of my wife's siblings and their families came over and we played some board games.
Yes.
And our son, older son as well, that was here with us. And that was a lot of fun.
I love that, man. I could always get down on some games, man. Games are
Oh, yeah,
always fun,
yeah.
man.
We played, what was the one we played the most? Decrypto.
Huh.
Have you heard of that? It's like a
No.
word guessing game, team versus team, and you're trying to come up with clues to get them to not guess the words, but they have 4 words, and you're trying to guess the order without giving away the word to the opposing team.
Ah,
It's fun.
That's an interesting name because, like, when you said that, all I thought was Olden Decrypto.
I think it's called Decrypto.
Okay.
Anyway,
cool,
you're
though.
decrypting
Not like,
a secret code. Very, very fun.
that's not
Love
like
fun.
Hangman, is it? I used to play that a lot.
No, but it's more like Pictionary with words,
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
kind of, because you can steal their code if you figure it out, and 2 steals you win.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you guys figured out there are 2 things to make your VO business get busy? Do you know what those 2 things are?
Yeah, take a vacation.
That's one of them. Take time off.
Get sick.
Get sick probably could come in there
Yeah,
also.
yeah.
But I think the other one is to dig a hole and crawl down in it and sulk for a couple days, and then it seems like things pick back up.
Yeah.
And, I know a lot of people, we all hit trials and tribulations and low spots, but sometimes they come at a time when you just are like, man, what is going on? and it's funny how it all fluctuates. You'll be like banging the heck out of short list, but not booking, or you're booking, but not really getting any short list. And then there's something else going on that you're not, you haven't had a call back. You just feel like, well, I just feel like my agents, they're not even listening to what I'm sending in. And then you decide to email them. They're like, yeah, there's many times we've shorted you, it's going to come.
Did we lose Troy?
Oh, I think we just lost Troy. Maybe he'll come back.
Well, I'm going to finish up his thought because I'm going to contradict him.
Okay.
It sounds like you shouldn't stay positive because when you get negative, that's when the work comes.
Right. It's almost what it would
Yeah,
entail.
but I hear what he's saying. Hopefully he
100%.
resets and comes back in. But yeah, that's crazy how you can get busy right when you think everything's falling apart. I had to be gone all day yesterday and knew that I was not going to have any studio time available.
Right.
So first thing in the morning, I get up to check email, just make sure there's nothing I need to deal with before we leave town. And I had several emails and connections where I had to reply. One was wanting a job that they requested the evening before. And I said, I'm going to be gone all day tomorrow, but I'll get to this Friday. And they said, hey, can we have this first thing Friday morning? And I'm like, well, I'm going to be gone all day. And I let them know why I was gone, and they understood. Of course. And so they came back in and said, that's fine. Well, I recorded the project about 9:00 at night last night. We'll see how it turned out. My voice was pretty tired, but I think I hit what they were looking for.
Sure.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And just to touch back on like the whole staying positive thing or whatever, it's just, you do have to stay positive, and that's like so much easier said than done. Especially like when you're the one that's in the slump, right? I mean, like you can tell, like Troy was saying, like, we were keeping him positive or whatever, but I mean, it's so much easier for us to tell our accountability partners to stay positive and to like, just, man, think of all you have done up until this point. Like, just take it as it is, but yeah, you really just got to try. And that's what accountability groups are good for, is posting your concerns in there, and hopefully,
well, and you can get some answers to issues like you maybe haven't faced before in the voiceover world. And that helps to get that feedback right away. It could, because sometimes a client asks you a question like, I've never dealt with this before. What do I say? You can reach out to somebody who has, and then you're like, it clicks and like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, well, I'm just going to reply in that same way. Right. So, hey, it looks like Troy's coming back in.
I think I'm back, but I don't have video.
Yeah, I don't see your video, but that's
I'll work on that. I've got the horses out there pulling the electric poles hard as they can. I mean, I don't know what the crap goes on around here.
Yeah, a mule.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. But I'll work on video and just keep talking. We're good.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we just kind of were just following up with your being positive and trying to stay positive when you're in these slumps. And we were talking about how it's easier said than done, when you're the person in the slump. But that's what accountability groups are for. They're there to help pick you up, and like Alden made a point, they're there to answer questions if you got something you're kind of unsure about, and maybe they have experience in it. There he is. Troy is back now. Good deal. And we didn't drop the episode. That's good.
And where did he go? What is he doing?
Right.
I thought he went to the bathroom before we started.
Break.
And speaking of the episode, today I kind of wanted to talk about a message we got from a listener, which we are always excited to get messages from listeners. So if that's you and you got a question or whatever, hit us up on Instagram or hit us up on our email, anothervopodcast@gmail.com. This one again came from Instagram from a listener named Erica Calvert. She said, "Hi guys, love the podcast. Thanks for all your hard work and for sharing so much with your listeners. Here's a request for a future topic. Might be a little controversial, as I know not all of you are fans of it, but can you do an episode on audio narration and or long-form narration? Example, e-learning, explainers. When it comes to audiobook narration, obviously it can be less profitable given the amount of labor involved, but from my perspective, it's really enjoyable to dive into the characters and the plot, and I've also been inspired by some of the nonfiction books I've narrated. Although it's a lot of work and takes tremendous stamina, I find it to be more rewarding than a 30-second commercial. But whether it's audiobooks or e-learning, you could touch on topics like punch and roll versus clicker, maintaining vocal health, keeping track of character voices, how to find work in both genres, etc., etc. thanks for considering it. Well, firstly, thanks for writing in. Like I said, we always get excited when people write into us because it gives us more to talk about. And I just, from right off the bat, sure, I may not be a fan of doing audiobooks, but as far as long form narration or e-learning, I'm not necessarily against it. But if you get something out of it, like you said, it's really more enjoyable, then keep sticking to it. More power to you. I don't have any hate for anybody that likes that area of voiceover. It's just me, my personal, my goals or whatever. They don't really necessarily evolve around that. But we'd love to talk about some of that stuff. And before we get into our thoughts on it, we are going to have Jay Rodney on the next episode of the podcast, which will come out next week. And he will talk about some audiobook stuff as well. So we'll have a lot more answers and go more in depth into this as well. But what are your guys' thoughts on all that?
Well, I do know Jay Rodney Turner has narrated hundreds of books, a lot of Westerns, and he'll be some great insight.
I bet that's kind of cool to do, like Westerns, like stuff like that.
Yeah, he's got a niche, and and when you hear him, if you've not heard him, you'll understand why. I think first and foremost, why I'm not a fan of it is I've never been a reader. I was never a good reader in school. Afterwards, I can sit and read magazine articles and short stuff, but I've never been a person, and I've never been a highly patient person for a result. It takes a very long time to record chapters and chapters and chapters and edit and record and edit and keeping up with those characters. If you can do that, God bless you. You are awesome. I just don't think I shouldn't say I don't think I could do it, because I've learned to do things I never thought I would learn to do related to voiceover. But on the other hand, it's not something I really would have a passion to do. And I think you got to have a passion for it and love it.
100%. But that's the point. I mean, like, if you're doing this job and you don't have the passion and love it, then why are you doing this job? I mean, that's kind of why we got into this, because the other stuff, the other jobs we were doing, and maybe not all necessarily, because I know you enjoyed what you did, but at least for me, like, I mean, I did not enjoy being an account manager at a private jet company. I enjoyed the people I worked with. They were excellent.
Yeah, there you go.
Them. But I wasn't, I was like, man, I want to do this forever. No, so.
Right.
If you're not passionate about it, then maybe look into something else. But like Erica pointed out, she said she find it more rewarding and enjoyable. Then excellent, great. Then you should be doing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
For
sure. Yep. That's 100%. And there's a big need for good audiobook narrators, in that industry, and there's a big push for it. I like doing nonfiction books, but that's because I am a reader, but that's what I read. I like to read nonfiction. And I think because I'm just a hungry learner, I like to, not even stuff that I have to know, but stuff that nobody cares to know. I'm like, well, that's interesting. And everybody's like, that's stupid. Well,
I'm like that. I like to learn, but I think I'm a shorter retention person. Give me the quick stuff. Show me something, and I'm amazed. When somebody shows me how to, one of the things when I built a barn, it was 24 by 144, and I did all the electrical and everything in it. I didn't have a lot of experience with that. I went and got.
And then after that barn burned down, he built another one.
Yeah. I went and bought a little thin book at Lowe's about basic electrical circuits. I didn't want to, and they had another book that looked like a dictionary or something. And I was like, I can't read this big, thick thing. I want this little short one. I want to get through this quick. I just want to understand how to basically wire a plug, wire a light, how to make the circuits continue if I'm going from plug to plug and light to light and all that, and how to get it back into the circuit box. Oh, yeah. And I learned a lot, but I tell you how I learned part of it. I would mess up. I would do something wrong, and I'd flip the breaker and it didn't work. And I'm like, and then I have to go get my little pamphlet and start reading again. I'm okay with that kind of learning. But my gosh, I have so much respect for people that can study and read. I was a memorizer in school. Yeah. I was terrible about memorizing things so I could pass tests. I would cram study just to memorize it. I didn't want to read it, and I had an English lit class one year that they taught you about all the authors, and you had to read all these autobiographies about them and study them and blah, blah. And I thought, why? What do I care? I do not care. And I made a D or an F in that class because I just couldn't do it.
Yeah. You really got to care. And I mean, not that we're
Yeah.
going to get into too much of the American education system, but I would, for one, be interested to see what it would be like if kids could choose what they wanted to learn, kind of thing, to an extent, you know what I mean? But like this whole core class stuff, I mean, like there's definitely aspects of math and science that people just
Sure.
really don't ever use ever again. Now, if you want to go into that field, by all means, yeah, let's have teachers for that or whatever. But anyway, that's besides the point. I think when you are interested in something, it makes you want to pay attention. It makes you want to learn, but you really have to be interested and passionate about it, which is,
Right.
again, kind of touching back.
Yeah.
You really have to be passionate and interested in what you're doing
Yeah.
and enjoy doing it. So,
Kind of unrelated and related, I do a podcast locally for the Chamber of Commerce, and I had the privilege to talk to the school superintendent.
oh, cool.
And I was kind of like, well, this is going to be terrible but he was down to earth, really good guy. I really enjoyed it. And one of the things that he had brought up, of course, I was asking questions that I could just think of. And I'm like, why is cursive writing gone away? What is going on with that? You know, I was trying to come out some things that I knew a parent might ask.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, no, we have a full curriculum for cursive writing in the second grade. But he said, think about this. And this never dawned on me before. He said, other than signing your name, how many times do you actually use cursive?
Oh, right.
And I thought,
right.
well, he's right, because everything's typed in. It's this. And then we also talked about when the kids get into high school, they get to choose one of three paths. They can choose a collegiate path, they can choose a trades path, or they could choose I'm probably going to work right out of high school path.
That's brilliant. That's really
I think that's
cool.
great,
Yeah.
because now they have three choices of how do I want to pursue my next 4 years.
Well, that's
and I'm
really
sure
cool.
the parents decide that for most of them, but
Yeah.
it's kind of neat,
You're going to be in a trade.
Yeah. You're going to
Anyway.
work on air conditioners, boy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, that's what it's about.
And you're going to dig ditches, and you are going to college.
Yeah. Now, one of the branches of voiceover she mentioned was e-learning, and I don't know. I think we've all done some e-learning, and I know Alden for sure, and I have.
Yeah, a little bit.
I have a meeting with a potential e-learning gig here after we record the podcast, but I enjoy e-learning. It's fun. I know.
Yeah.
I feel like most of the e-learning I've done have been geared towards kids. So a lot of I get that, and I think that's what makes it more fun, because I did a coding and math bundle for Discovery Education my second year in voiceover, aimed at kids, I think ranging from 6th grade to all the way through high school. So some of the videos, like especially the intro to coding, was like moving pictures across, programming pictures to move across the screen and creating these little games. So a lot of it was, in that higher voice where it's like, first, we're going to take the fish and make it eat the littler fish. So, I mean, you put on that like kind of fun voice, and that's what makes it fun or whatever. But there was also some math stuff where I kind of learned some stuff too about, like I think I did like a 2 or 3 minute video talking about Isaac Newton and some of his laws and whatnot. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember learning this. But as far as e-learning goes, that's definitely a branch that at least the three of us audition for if we can, and we'll gladly accept work.
Yeah. I don't think I've done any kids e-learning. Most of mine is industrial.
Oh, really?
With a little bit of corporate. Yeah.
I did a sample for my e-learning demo, like press the green button. Great job.
Yeah.
Sure.
I actually I did one for a video game it's a kids. And this is a new company. You should check them out. They're called Enrichly, and the president she's a really great lady. She's very super positive, and they create games for for self-esteem or whatever. So that was really neat to be a part of, and not only neat to be a part of, but I was happy to be a part of that, to spread the positivity and to help kids with their self-esteem.
Sure.
And that played a part in me really enjoying that, just because not only am I recording something, not only am I just getting to do a job, but I'm getting to help other people, especially kids, especially in this world that rapidly changes all the time. And, we all three of us grew up in different times, but seeing what the world's like today, I don't know if I'd want to be a kid today, So if I can help in any way in that regards, that brings me happiness and pleasure and whatnot.
Yeah. Good.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
What do you what are some of your challenges when you're doing longer form jobs for you guys, like e-learning or maybe any long form narration if you've done it? I mean, do you find yourself having to give yourself a rest vocally or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Typically, whatever you're doing, you're not going to be able to do in one session, right? Where
Right.
if you're going to ever come in and record a 30-minute commercial or a 1-minute explainer video, you can do that in one session. But to put together an e-learning that's going to be, 5 modules over 2 hours, you're not doing that in one setting. So one of the bigger challenges is when you come back into the studio for the next session, is your voice going to sound the same as where you left off, right? So you've got to match your tonality. You've got to match where you were in distance to the microphone to make sure that your levels are the same. Nobody wants to listen to an e-learning, and then when they jump to the next section, it jumps up in volume really big. You've got to be on a standard level. And so editing and performance, those are two sides of that same equation there for that. And I think audiobooks are the same. It's been a while since I've done an audiobook, but yeah, even if you're doing an audiobook that's just 30 minutes long, you're probably not doing that in one sitting.
Right. Yeah.
Staying awake, that'd be a challenge.
Staying awake. Yeah. Yeah. How long you stay awake for nowadays, Troy?
I will say, and I know some people have followed this on Facebook, I have done 3 nights straight with 6 or more hours on my BiPAP machine. And I'm going to tell you guys, this is shocking me. Yesterday, I don't think I yawned all day long. And that's odd for me. So it's making a difference if I can wrestle through it. Yeah.
That's great to hear.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's good. So maybe I will do an audiobook now.
Yeah, maybe so.
There you go.
Well, okay. Have you guys ever looked into like things you should do to just keep your voice healthy? And I'm not talking about like, maybe it's warming up or whatever, but I mean like, because like there's things you can do like that you should do. Like
J.J. Wilson taught me a lot of stuff. He said, get up in the morning and drink 2 Pepsis and smoke 3 cigarettes and then drink your coffee. And that's what he had always recommended. Thank you, JJ. That doesn't work for me.
I'm sounding too clear today. I need to take a little more.
It's funny. There are a lot of guys in the business that they're just like, that's a bunch of crap.
Right.
And I heard Dan Friedman on a podcast a while back, and they were talking about not drinking coffee. He goes, why deprive yourself? Drink all the coffee you want.
Right.
So yeah, there's Alden.
Alden, yeah, Alden drink.
I haven't made a lot of changes like that, but what I do find with it is if I'll do I like to use the vowels, the A-E-I-O-U thing, and I'll go through that and over formulate the noises up and down, loud and form with my mouth and loosen my voice. But I don't think I'm a good example for voice health, not at all.
I really don't practice anything either, but you read stuff like, oh, drink maybe I think like a hot tea with some lemon in it, or lemon and honey in it or whatever. I mean, I'll say this a trick I would use when I was doing like, musical theater was every time a show opened, I would have a little bottle of Honey Jack whiskey with me, and I'd take a shot of that before the show. Not to like loosen me up or whatever, but it's just I would room temperature, drink it kind of slow, let it kind of coat the throat, and then I would follow it with some room temperature water, and that always just kind of helped me feel better about it. It may not actually help, but
I knew a gospel singer who put Tabasco sauce in hot coffee. And that sounds terrible, but it would open him up. I have 2 vices or 2 things, and I believe in and this is not the voice really, but the chapstick, the lip moisturizer. But the other thing I do believe in is biotin mouth rinse. There's something in
is that non-alcoholic?
It's non-alcoholic. It gets the gunk out of your mouth somehow. And if I notice I'm starting to have a lot of problems with popping and clicking, and it's really got bad, and I hear people say, eat a green apple or do this or drink this kind of juice. And I can rinse with that biotin, and they make a spray as well, either one. I can use either one of those, and it automatically gets rid of all that. And because of the amount of coffee that I drink and tea, the biotin's pretty handy for that. It's like it gets the crud out, but it keeps enough moisture in, and it's really good stuff for that. But for vocal cords or anything, that's not a help.
Well, I mean, your mouth is part of it too. Sorry.
Yeah. You want to stay hydrated.
Yeah, of course.
That's really important. Even if you're a coffee drinker, or you drink alcohol, those things are going to dehydrate you. So if you're going to do that stuff, you need to drink water, a good steamy shower in the morning, breathe in deeply. Now, I have had pedagogy training, but this is more for singing. A good steamy shower, breathe in deeply, hum in the shower.
Yeah.
Okay? Because you asked me, so
I know, but
Right?
Troy's over here
Sorry, a
being a
million
clown.
jokes just went.
these
Yeah,
are all
Troy's over here being a clown.
these are all the gross stories. You
Yeah.
know, hum, sigh.
Keep
Yeah.
a trash can
Blow
closed
up,
because this time of year it's like coughing up
Yeah.
constant phlegm.
all those things. So if you're a musician and you've got sung and you've been in choirs where you've done warm-ups, those similar warm-ups help
It
you
applies.
with your
Right.
voice.
Yeah.
Now, you also want to warm up your diction, so you need to do little articulation practices in the morning. You could probably find YouTube videos, and maybe we should create one. Wouldn't that be fun? Of
Yeah.
little exercises you can do to get your embouchure, get your tongue, your cheeks, your lips ready to go for long form narration.
A lot of
Sometimes you have to
people
take a
sing.
break in the middle
Yeah.
just to rest all those muscles, not just your voice, but your
I
pronunciation.
think it would be cool if we had a little workout, maybe a workout with Alden on our Instagram.
I don't know if I could take it seriously enough.
I know.
You guys are
sitting there
involved.
playing to your phone with yourself, and you're just like, okay. So here we go.
What we should all do is just for the heck of it, videotape yourself doing some warm-ups, and let's share those on a podcast sometime on the video side of the podcast.
Oh, that'd be cool. That would
Because
be cool.
and I've never seen myself, but I can imagine doing the A-E-I-O-U vowels, and then when you're trying to go A-E, all the
I
faces.
just want to understand something real quick.
Yeah.
Do you not have any mirrors or nothing in your house? You've never seen yourself.
Well, I mean, I've never seen myself doing the A-E-I-O-U thing.
Oh.
No.
Yeah,
I was like, well, you take pretty good care of yourself, or someone never seen
I
themselves.
do. I tell you something I have started doing after coaching is a lot of times I'll turn my OBS camera on and put it up in the corner of the screen because I want to make sure I see my hands and things moving and I'm getting, I'm doing what I should be doing.
Right.
And I guess maybe I should start turning it on for the warm-ups. I don't know.
Yeah, our new intro to the podcast is going to be welcome to another VO podcast.
Yeah, I've heard that one on a podcast before.
That'd be hilarious, to be honest with you. So part of my routine, and I really only do this if it's like I book a job and I haven't gotten around to doing it that day, but I do use the chaps. I use Vaseline on my lips or whatever, but I brush my teeth, and I know this from my dentist is that like Listerine and stuff like that, unless it's not alcohol free, that actually dries your mouth out.
Yeah.
So that stuff like that Biotine or just non-alcoholic mouthwash,
These are good
free
too.
or non-alcoholic?
I don't know if you can see that those are good.
Oh,
That's the little Vicks vapor inhaler sticks.
Oh, I love those. Those.
There's a dual thing.
Medicinal only,
They
Jake.
open you up, but they also have something in it. Thank you to Ryder VO. Mark said there's something in there that will actually bust open some endorphins and help you wake up if you're a little drowsy.
Sweet.
And he's right. You pull on this thing about 3 times and you're like, whoa, I'm ready to go. So I don't know what's in it, but it's not the same thing my dad carried around. I can tell you that.
Right. That's one of those Vicks if you're just listening only to the podcast, you're not looking. He's got one of those little Vicks tubes inhalers.
Yeah, they
You can
call
get
it
them
a
for $2 to $3
Vapo.
at Walgreens or something like that.
Vapo inhaler. They used to be a couple of bucks, and now they're about, like you said, they're like 2 for $12 or something. They went way up.
Yeah.
But man, they're good. They're really good. I love
That
it.
was a pleasant sound for our podcast listeners.
We need
Yeah, and again, if you're not watching on YouTube or seeing the video, again, he just hit a stick, nothing else.
Yeah.
Right, that's exactly.
He just shoved a stick up his nose.
Use your imaginations.
Right, yeah. Say hello to my little friend. No, sorry. Yeah. Well, I mean, really, I'm excited to have Jay Rodney on. Is Jay Rodney Turner is his full name, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So it'd be cool to have him on because I don't know much about audiobooks myself. All I know is that I know they take time. And unfortunately for me, I just don't want to take the time to do that, which is why Erica probably said, I know you guys probably aren't fans of it. And again, if you love doing it, that's great. But I love being able to just hop in the booth, record for an hour if I have to, if I'm in a session or something like that. But other than that, I mean, I just don't see myself ever getting into audiobooks.
One of the things that I like about being about what I get to do is that a project can, for me, get from start to finish very quickly. So I can go to bed at night with not a lot hanging over my head. And I think for me and my personality, what I did for the past 27 years before this, I had a lot of stuff hanging over my head for weeks and weeks and weeks at a time.
Amen,
And
brother.
to do audiobooks, sometimes those audiobooks are pretty hefty.
Yeah.
And it can be a month investment from start to finish on it. And I don't like that hanging over my head.
It's
I'd rather have it.
It's funny you mentioned that because
Yeah.
I had just talked a couple of days ago to a guy that worked for me, and he was a great import-export guy, logistics guy. He was in his early 70s, and he retired right after I did. And he sent me a thing yesterday, and he said, "Hey, I'm going to get back into it for a while. I want to use you for a reference." And I'm like, "Dude, are you kidding me?" He said, "I miss the excitement." And
Okay.
I was thinking back the other day, you complete a job in a few minutes, and somebody had sent me something the other day, and I think I sent it to you guys. It was that speaker thing that was going on PBS, and I get the spot, I get it back to them, and like 15 minutes later, they send me the finished spot, and I'm like, whoa, cool, because usually you hardly ever get them. And I was thinking back
more
to
let's get it 15 minutes after you give them the recording.
15 years after. But I was thinking back to, one of the positions I had was I was the manager over a program launch when the Altima was at Nissan was changing over to a new body style. And I had to coordinate like 300 different body parts. And they were all these different suppliers and all the tooling and making sure they came in and the trials got built. And we'd build like trial vehicles, for months before we ever launched it to make sure they'd go together and this. And every night you went to sleep wondering, tomorrow, is so-and-so going to ship their stuff? Am I going to get this? Am I going to get that? And I don't have to do that anymore. And I am so thankful I don't have that stuff hanging over me like it used to. That was hard.
Yeah.
That was hard. I worry about this. I probably worry over this way more than I worried over those cars. But this is mine and it's different.
Yeah, it's always different when it's yours, and you're not, and you don't have to answer to anybody. Sure, we work for clients here and there, but at the same time, like, it's your business. That's the service you provide. They're not like
my
your
business, and
boss.
my wife runs it.
Right, there you go. Another thing Erica had asked about was maybe about where to find particular jobs that pertain to like audiobooks and stuff like that. I mean, as far as e-learning and narration, you can find those on your average pay-to-plays, your direct marketing, and I've even seen some stuff come through on agency gigs a lot for some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But as far as audiobooks, I think the only thing I know about where to find jobs is ACX. But isn't that more so like a kind of like a beginner's platform, or am I wrong about that?
It's both. I think it's both.
It is both, but I did a few books on ACX and they did not pay well at all. Of course, I was just getting started. So in addition to not knowing any better, I didn't feel like I was worth as much as I probably was worth. But don't go look for those audiobooks because
I know people that get rate.
I know people that get rate
from from the F platform. And they get industry rate $225, $250 an hour.
Yes, absolutely.
I think, and I think it's going to be interesting to talk to Jay Rodney because I think he's gotten in with certain authors that just keep coming back.
Yeah.
So I think it also has the opportunity, depending on if you're marketing to publishing houses or whatever. But I look forward to hearing that because, kind of like what you guys are saying, I don't know. I really don't. I've not got into it. ACX is what, I'm like Jake, that's what popped into my mind. And then I remembered there's a couple of guys I know that have made a lot of money off audiobooks on Fiverr. Yeah. And, maybe that's where people go look. I mean, I have people come to me off there sometimes, for commercial spots, and I'm going, here we go. One of these people wanting something for nothing. And they're well, send me a quote, and you send it at industry rate. And they go, yeah, fine, no problem.
The common ground there between Fiverr and ACX is a lot of that is self-published. Yeah. And it's so easy to publish your own book these days. Yeah. And people are wanting audiobooks to go along with that. But where they don't know where to go because they didn't publish through a publishing house necessarily their book. They self-published. And so they don't know where to find that. They don't have anybody helping them. So Fiverr is an easy resource. ACX is an easy resource to jump in. And Fiverr is probably a little easier for them to navigate than ACX.
Yeah, and they can listen to samples and whatever, different people.
Yep.
Have either of you ever done an audiobook trailer?
Yes.
No,
Yeah, I've done.
I may have auditioned for it, but
I've done a handful of those.
Yeah,
not many.
Yep,
but still, it only took 10 minutes. So,
yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, 10, 15 minutes, you're done. It's a quick read. It's just like a thing of what the book's about, and the author is this, and whatever, and it's got. Some
I've done a handful of audiobook trailers. I would love to do more of those because I find them really interesting.
They are interesting.
It's like reading the back cover jacket of a book.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you're hearing it and seeing video, and I love it.
It's pretty neat.
It is.
Well, one of the last things that Erica mentioned here, and maybe I'm not super familiar with this, is maybe this might make me sound like some kind of rookie, which to an extent I am. But I mean, I'm about to start my 5th year doing voiceover. Maybe not my full-time gig, but I've been doing it for a while now. But she said you could touch on topics like punch and roll versus clicker. And I'm guessing that means like if you make a mistake.
Yeah.
See, I don't know what punch and roll is. I think clicker. I mean, because if I mess up, my go-to is just
punch and roll.
And that way, when I go back and edit it.
Yeah. Punch and roll is when you set it to start recording at a certain amount, but you back up and you start talking with your own voice over, and then the part you're replacing, it starts recording at that spot. And so you can seamlessly, you can seamlessly record over the top, but it doesn't record over the top. It starts recording only where you
set the marker.
Yeah, you set the marker. I don't use that a lot.
I have, but not much.
I feel like I'd rather just click and go because I'm still in that mind frame, right? You know what I mean? Like I do
that's my thought pattern.
Just move on, and then when I'm going through editing, I see the high spike line real quick. Like, oh, okay,
Well, I think for long form, it's a good thing because you can go back and get your tone and your pace. But I think for us, it's more, when you're doing the shorter stuff, it's more of your momentum, your excitement, where you're at.
Yep.
And I am trying, and I haven't converted yet. I'm trying to use this thing I posted about, using markers and being able to separate out of a file and name it. And the reason I'm doing that is if I've got, say, I come in the morning and say there's 5 things I want to do off of one of the pay-to-plays. I do better if I do all 5 of those in a row and stay in performance mode and then go back and put on my editing hat and edit. And that came from a coach as well to try that. And occasionally I will do that, but there's times I find myself going back to my old method of, record, edit, send, record, edit, send. But I'm fast at that, and I'm used to it.
Right?
So I'm really fast, and
I've got time efficient.
I've got the back clicker that I got from Amazon. I love this thing. It's nice and loud.
Oh, sorry. Do you hold that when you record and just?
I do. I just hold
wow.
it.
Okay.
Now I still occasionally, if I'm doing something short. Yeah, I heard you did the mouth click. I do a mouth pop, just like that. But Brad Highland told me, he goes, one day you're going to get up and have no lips. You need to quit doing that.
Hey, aren't we having Brad on sometimes in the future?
Hi, my name is Troy.
He's supposed to be signing up. So, I think he's coming. I just don't know when. He and I had a discussion about it, and he said, send me the link, and I'm sure he will.
Well, I'm excited to talk to him. He's a great guy.
He's like everybody else. It's a bad time of year, and I said, if you want to wait till January, that's fine.
How dare Brad not schedule this during the holidays?
Oh. Dadgummit, Brad.
The
Brad,
Grinch.
We're shaking our fist at you.
Yeah.
Scrooge.
Just kidding, brother. You're a great guy.
He's busy recording Santa for Elf on the Shelf.
Of course he is. That guy's awesome.
Yeah.
Man. That guy's awesome.
And I noticed he picked up one of the ag things. It wasn't John Deere. It was the other one.
New Holland.
Yeah.
Yeah,
good for
I
you.
auditioned for that one too and got shortlisted. And
I don't think I got that one.
Congratulations, Brad.
Yeah, Brad's
Again, Brad, just
well deserved.
It is. Oh yeah, absolutely. He's got a great voice for it.
He does. I mean, and he deserves it too. Great guy.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. I mean, if you haven't had a chance to meet Brad in person, he's great. I mean, getting to meet him at One Voice was great. He hosted a little thing for all of his students there that after, I think it was on the second night.
Yeah, I would have loved to.
Oh man. That. Yeah. If you get the chance to meet Brad, do it because you won't, he's just a good guy. I don't know what else to say because I feel like that just encompasses He's a good guy.
And you and he are probably closer to the same height than he and I were. I felt like I was breaking my neck trying to look up at him.
Yeah, you know what? I never notice how tall I am. Like my girlfriend's 5'6" and I'm 6'2". But when I talk to her, I look her in the face. So it doesn't register to me until I see our reflection just how much shorter she is than me. And that's how it's been with all my friends too. You know, until I see my reflection next to you, I don't register how tall I am.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't consider myself particularly tall, but but after looking at like the national average, I think is like 5'8" or 5'9" or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm obviously above
I think so.
that. But
yeah, I would take that. That would be great.
5'8" or 5'9".
I'm excited to meet you guys in person when it does, when that time finally comes, just to see the different dynamic. I'm sure it's going to be
you can pat me on top of the head.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Hi, little guy.
I'll put
maybe
my
I'm in the
arms
middle
around
then.
you guys. You can just,
Yeah.
Well, okay. Do you guys got anything else about this topic that you'd like to touch on? Anything that, I mean, again, we got more coming on this topic next episode with Jay Rodney.
Jay Rodney.
So,
Yeah.
So sorry. We got more coming up with that. So this topic isn't over yet, but I think between the three of us, we might have said everything that we really could add to that.
Yeah, I wish I could have answered some more of the questions. I don't know where to find a lot of that work because I don't do a lot of it. I'm searching for it. I'm sure if you Google audiobook creation or audiobook, whatever producing, you might find companies like ACX that try to do it on the side.
Yep, sure.
And maybe they're linked on the back end of a publishing company as well, because a lot of times if somebody does publish through a publishing company, they will help you create your audiobook. That's part of the service they provide. So it'd be great to get hooked in with those, especially if you like a particular genre of publishing and you want to do audiobooks, say, for sci-fi fiction or,
Well, I don't really have anything to add knowledge-wise either. I just don't know that much about it. I look forward to hearing from Jay Rodney. I do want to say thanks for the letter. I mean, it's really great. We get, some posts on Facebook from time to time that people are really relying on these podcasts for information. They appreciate the information.
Yeah.
And that's all we're trying to do is share. And then here's one of those episodes where we go, we don't know, but guess what? Next week, we're going to get somebody in that does know and they can help you and give you some great information. Because Rodney, and oddly, Rodney probably lives 6 miles from me.
Oh, that's cool. Have you guys met up before?
We have not. Well, we met at VO Atlanta.
Right.
We have planned to go to lunch. I don't know how many times. He's come to a couple of the automotive workshops and super, super nice guy. I believe former Navy guy. He's just a great guy.
Cool.
That's cool. And what did he do before he was an audiobook person? We're not going to give it away today, but I think people are going to go, wow.
Rodeo clown.
Yeah, pretty close.
Okay. Yeah. No, you know what? I'm excited to have him on. I think he'll be able to much better answer some questions, and I'll keep Erica's post ready for me, and we can kind of touch on some of the points that she brought up too. But but until next week, guys. I mean, that's pretty much what we have to add to that. And Erica, I hope you hung in with us. And kind of put up with some of our off-topic stuff as we tend to do sometimes. But
we're the scatter kings of the podcast airwaves.
Hey, we
there you go.
We hit all the cones. We just did our we turns around the cones.
We took the scenic route.
That's right.
Yeah,
I like that. The scenic route.
The scenic route. Well, guys, please reach out to us with any questions, any feedback you have too. I mean, like even if you don't have a question, you just want to say, "Hey, I thought about maybe you could do this," or "What's your thoughts on this?" I mean, just reach out to us. It can be on Instagram, like Erica. It could be on our email at anothervopodcast@gmail.com. Just hit us up, guys. We love hearing from you. And like Troy said, if we don't have the answers, we'll get somebody on here who does. So stick around. Who doesn't?
Yep.
Or doesn't.
Oh, or doesn't. Yeah, we'll get somebody on here who doesn't.
Fake
and then
it
we'll
till
be
you
like,
make it,
why did we do that? Anyway, from me, Jake, not me as in Jake, Alden, and Troy, thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks, everybody. See you.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of It's Another VO Podcast. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. You can also email us your questions to anothervopodcast@gmail.com or follow us on Instagram at anothervopodcast. See you next time.